Hello there, welcome to the Football Block. My name is Brandon, and today we're going to look back on the opening day of AFCON 2023. So if that sounds interesting, let's hop right into it.
One step beyond.
So AFCON 2023 is finally here. We have the Asian Cup 2023 and AFCON 2023 at the same time. I'm super excited for both tournaments. Just yesterday, we looked at the opening match of the Asian Cup. Now we're going to do the same with the AFCON here. And we have the host, Ivory Coast, going up against Guinea-Bissau in a match that it might be a little bit of a mismatch when you look at the record of both of these teams, but on the field, I think overall it was actually a pretty close game, and you know, a pretty exciting game, all things considered. Now, it's been 2 years since the last AFCON. We had 2021 AFCON technically was played in the January and February time period of 2022, similar how, you know, there's AFCON 2023, but it's being played technically in 2024 for essentially the same reasons, you know, tournaments being postponed, a congested FIFA calendar, stuff like that. AFCON is played every 2 years as opposed to, say, the Asian Cup or the Euros, which is played every 4 years. The Copa America is supposed to be played every 4 years, but, you know, there's a lot of scheduling controversies and stuff there anyway. But the last AFCON was my personal favorite AFCON. There were so many goals, there were so many great games, so many wonderful teams to watch. I'm really excited for this tournament as well. If you look at Ivory Coast as the host nation going into this match, they have a lot of pressure on their shoulders because if you look at their past performances, they have been kind of lackluster, for lack of a better term. If you go back to the mid-2000s all the way up into the mid-2010s, Ivory Coast was one of the best teams in Africa. They were probably the most popular team in Africa, just with this golden generation with guys like Didier Drogba, Yaya Toure, Gervinho, and tons of other players as well. But I think that generation, they had good performances. They qualified for 3 World Cups in a row, 2006, 2010, 2014. They got to several AFCON finals. They had some disappointments there, but they capped off the generation with a great victory in the 2015 AFCON, beating Ghana in the final. That's actually the first AFCON I ever watched. Crazy penalty shootout at the end there. But since then, it has been kind of a disappointment. They didn't qualify for the 2018 World Cup. They actually had a really poor performance at the 2017 AFCON. They got eliminated in the group stage. 2019 AFCON, you know, not a terrible performance, but very average. They did go out to Algeria, the eventual champion, so no shame in that. But still, Ivory Coast has had, you know, a lot of expectations on them. They didn't qualify for the 2022 World Cup. Very disappointing campaign there. And in the 2021 AFCON, very similar to the last AFCON that we talked about before, 2019, where it wasn't necessarily a bad performance. They went out against Egypt, the finalist, eventual finalist, but still. Also, if you look at the squad, the players, just the names don't jump off the page like they used to back in, say, 2010 or 2012 or even 2015. So expectations are on Ivory Coast to rekindle that spirit, because this is a country that soccer or football is extremely popular, and they have a long history with great players over the past few years. If you look at the team now, there are still some stars. Of course, you have Franck Kessié, but I don't think anyone really has that world-renowned status to them. But I do think that the team together is a strong team. There's a good team mentality. Their opponents today, Guinea-Bissau, is a team that has a lot of inexperience when it comes to the AFCON. They were at the last 2, but they don't have many wins under their belts. They don't have a ton of big-name players or big moments or anything like that in the AFCON. But they're not one of the worst teams in the world. They are a competent team. If you look at their players, there's no massive stars, but they do have some quality in there. There's a big Portuguese contingent, obviously, as Guinea-Bissau is a former colony of Portugal. A lot of players that played in big Portuguese teams and their youth systems. Some of the players even played for Portugal's youth teams and stuff like that. Going into this match, I think everyone was expecting Ivory Coast to win, including myself. And overall, I think Ivory Coast from minute 1 to minute 90 had a good performance. It wasn't the best performance, but it was a good performance that they can take and they can improve on going throughout the rest of the tournament. Now, if you look at how the match started, Ivory Coast immediately went off on the front foot. They really pressured Guinea-Bissau's defense into multiple mistakes. And then Fofana, the midfielder who plays for Al Nassr, scored a really nice goal. He picked up the ball in the midfield, had a really quick dribble, and then a really nice low finish into the bottom corner. It looked like Ivory Coast would then take that and then run away with it, scoring many goals. But Guinea-Bissau was able to kind of calm things down. They actually gained a few chances themselves in the first half. A few of their forwards had, a few good runs of play, but nothing that seriously troubled Ivory Coast, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 shots here and there. Still formidable performance from the Ivorian defense. They were able to clamp down on most of Guinea-Bissau's attacks as they were growing in momentum. Into the second half, you did start to feel a bit of a shift where Guinea-Bissau started to get on the ball more. They looked a little more confident, but all that confidence was shut down once a defensive mistake led to actually a very nice goal from Crasso, the striker from Ivory Coast. The ball kind of flicked up in the air after this center back for Guinea-Bissau made a mistake, but Crasso was able to very delicately flick the ball up in the air and then turn and shoot underneath the goalkeeper. Very nice goal to look at. If you haven't gotten a chance, watch the highlights of it. Very nice. And then I think Ivory Coast actually took their foot off the pedal, because at that point, realistically, their win was secure. There was a flurry of late chances for Guinea-Bissau. Nothing that really troubled the keeper. Most of the shots were from far out. They had a formation change, and also Ivory Coast looked a little complacent. But still, the match finished 2-0 to Ivory Coast. Like I said, overall, a good performance. I think that if they want to win this tournament, they need to go into another gear. They need to take it into another gear. But there's nothing in this game that proves that they can't do that. It looks like, if anything, it shows the opposite, because if you look at the crowd, the home crowd, how passionate they were, how full the stadiums are. Because sometimes in the AFCON in the past, with ticket pricing and then also unfortunate political situations in these countries that are hosted, sometimes you don't see a high fan attendance. This game in particular, and I've heard from ticket sales that most of the games are most likely going to be like this anyway. The stadium was completely full, and that's only going to help Ivory Coast having the home crowd on their side. So anyway, let me know what you thought of this match. How far do you see Ivory Coast going in this tournament? And do you think Guinea-Bissau can make it out of this group? Because it was a valiant performance for them. They didn't, give up at any point. They didn't get destroyed. They didn't get blown apart. But this is an extremely tough group that they're drawn into, not only with the host Ivory Coast like they played today, but they also have Equatorial Guinea, who has been a formidable team over the past. They've been to the semifinals before. They've had some huge upsets. And then also Nigeria, with possibly the most talented forward line in the entire tournament and one of the most dangerous attacking forces in the entire world, at least on paper. But can Guinea-Bissau make it out of the group? I mean, as strong as Nigeria may seem going forward, they have some weaknesses in the middle and the back. And then Equatorial Guinea, while they have a history of, doing some upsets and playing above their skin, or punching above their weight, can they repeat that? So there definitely is a chance for Guinea-Bissau. Let me know what you think is going to happen, if you think that they can, make some surprises here at this tournament. Make sure to type all your comments in the section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this video with a friend. Also follow the Football Bloc on the social media accounts. But anyway, guys, my name is Brandon. This has been the Football Bloc. Hope you guys have a nice rest of your night.
One step beyond.